and this is the Girl Scout Space Science Badge Symposium. I'm the principal investigator, which means I'm the lead person at the SETI Institute. We received the NASA funding for this program, and I don't do this alone. I'm surrounded by great colleagues who you'll meet through today and throughout the other weeks. So thank you for joining us. Have a good time.
So today, well, looks like I might have missed a couple of slides here. Session 1 agenda. If you don't already have it with you, please go ahead and get pencil or pen and paper. You'll need it for one of our activities today. We're gonna have a little welcome, talk about ages in stages with Jean Fay. I'll go over some sample activities that we've done virtually and a few, of course, that you can do in person. Of course, these badges were designed for in-person experiences, but they actually translate really well to virtual. Then we'll talk a little bit about best practices. And during the course of this, we're gonna have 2 opportunities to break out into your regional groups. A few groups are mixed regions, but to get to meet some folks and share your thoughts. I wanted to welcome today the leaders of this symposium. With us from the SETI Institute, Pamela Harmon, who just gave our welcoming hello. Yeah. From the Astronomical Society of the Pacific, give a wave. We've got Vivian White and Teresa Summer.
Hi, everybody.
And then with the Girl Scouts of Northern California here, Jean and myself, Jean Fay and myself. So we've been working on these space science badges and other programs the past 5 years. This is sort of the end of the 5-year NASA funding. Let's go ahead and find out where you're from. If you haven't used Annotate before, there's some directions in the top right corner. So go ahead and find the stamp function in the Annotate and stamp on the map where you are from. Oh, I see we've got the first one now, a Girl Scout, a heart there on the peninsula in San Francisco, or maybe a little bit south of it. So we're gonna get pretty dense in the Bay Area probably, but go ahead. With Girl Scouts, use a heart. Girl Scout adults can use an arrow, and astronomers use a star. That way we can tell who's who and where you're from.
How are we supposed
Hey, Isabella, how are you supposed to annotate? There's a little pen marker in your menu bar. It says annotate. It's in the same bar that says mute. If you're on an iPad, unfortunately, it doesn't have an annotation option. So that would be probably why you don't see it. Are you on an iPad or a tablet?
I am on a Chromebook.
Chromebook may not have annotate still. And that's a good thing for us to know as we do these things. I'm sorry that it doesn't have the
Sorry, a laptop.
laptop. Yeah. But Chromebooks, I think sometimes don't have that function.
Which function is that?
Annotate, what we're doing by drawing on the screen, which is a really fun tool, but then it's good to know it's not always available to everyone. So these are good things to know. Throughout this process, we're going to be learning a little bit about Zoom as well as the badges. So a bit of everything. Oh yeah, Pamela has a great suggestion to make your notes in the chat instead of which county or city you're in.
Right, I can do that.
I'm seeing Alexandria. Ali is from the Bay Area. Ramya just popped hers in there with an arrow. This is great. Swami says San Jose. Yvette says Los Angeles. Kathleen says Petaluma. Nancy in Sonoma. Lorena in Bay Area. Wolf in Mountain View in South Bay. Natasha in San Jose. Stacy in Gilroy. Frank in El Dorado Hills. And Grace in Fresno. Ramya in Saratoga. Ray in Oakland, Mike in Alameda County. This is great. So this is generally where the participants are from. We have tried to group you in regions with an amateur astronomer, a Girl Scout adult, and some older Girl Scouts. So we're hoping that as teams, then you're going to be able to do the following things. These are the goals of the symposium: to discover the space science badge activities, to connect with space science enthusiasts in your community, and to take action by collaborating on a space science event for Girl Scouts. And I know we've gotten questions about the events because you're all very responsible. You wouldn't be here if you weren't really interested in supporting Girl Scouts. The event is a very open thing. We want you to take what you learn here and apply it to an event. It could be virtual, it can be in person, it can be through a service unit, through your Night Sky Network Astronomy Club, Whatever it is, we just want you to take what you learn and share it with some Girl Scouts out there. We're not terribly strict. We just want you to have a chance to share. And then of course the goals and the expectations. We've got the 4 symposium sessions. You're here live, but for those of you watching the recording, thank you. You do need to watch the recordings if you don't make it live. There's a weekly action item. We want you to spend 20 to 45 minutes on it max, but it's not a big assignment. We just want you to think about it, offer that Girl Scout event and share what you learn with your club, group, or service unit. Just share with others. We're gonna be talking today about younger Girl Scouts. So let's start off. Jean is going to walk us through some ages and stages for the Daisy, which is that badge on the left that looks like sort of a little puffy flower. It's grades kindergarten and first grade. Brownies, their badges are triangular. They're second and third graders. And juniors, whose badges are circular. So take it away, Jean.
Okay, so Daisy Girl Scouts, who are 5 to 7-year-olds, they are very imaginative and they love creative play. The visuals that you make, whether they're for in-person posters or online, should be very child-friendly and colorful. 5 to 7-year-olds really need to keep moving. We try to not have them just sit and listen or for more than 5 minutes at a time, because they need to keep moving and get their wiggles out. They like to work in small groups, and they're really good about reacting physically, like thumbs up or down, or sharing, talking out loud. Typing is a lot more difficult for them. So for them to put where they live in chat would be very difficult because they're just learning how to read and write and spell. So for adults to be supportive, they need to be animated when they're talking, speak very clearly and keep it simple. Hold up real objects to share. If they're talking about something, share it in the screen. Some of the girls may need help navigating if it's an online, like Zoom, they may need help navigating mute and unmute and writing when needed. We found that in most of our programs that we did for this age, they usually had an adult, either a parent or a supervising adult. So expect to interact with them as well. This is an example of making visuals that are appealing to Daisy Girl Scouts. These are from Space Place, and they're fun, they're colorful, and kids love them. Now the Brownie Girl Scouts are 7 to 9 years old. Again, they need to be age appropriate visuals. Be careful that they're not on the baby end. They love to share things on camera, and whether it's verbally sharing or showing their pet, their crayon, whatever they have, they want to share it with you. But there's a big difference between second and third graders. The second graders are looking to please you as the leader. The third graders are more pushing their boundaries. What can they say? What can they show? What can they do that is kind of pushing the boundaries? So you need to be aware of that. They also need to be physically active. They enjoy working in small groups. With them, you can use emojis to share what they're thinking, thumbs, or sharing aloud. They like to begin to do chatting. They have limited typing ability and are learning how to write. So some of them enjoy chatting, some don't. The adults need to be animated, but be sure that they're not being condescending or childish. Again, speak very slowly and clearly. Hold up real objects. Very important to acknowledge the girls' comments. If they say something or share something, acknowledge, especially with using their name. And that's really important because the girls then feel important and what they say is important. Each time that you get onto a Zoom or whatever your platform is, review the expectations and how to use it. And again, expect to have adults in the background trying to help them navigate as well. And the next slide shows this is a sample of what we've used for the brownies at the beginning of a session, trying to get to see how they feel, how they're feeling that day. And again, very simple graphics that show expression, and they enjoy that. Juniors, which are 9 to 10 years old, 4th or 5th grade, are beginning to be more independent. They can follow multi-step instructions. They like to participate aloud in chat and with annotations. They really like the time in breakout rooms with their friends. It's very important that if you have the adults, be sure that there's an adult in each breakout room with them, because this keeps them on task, as well as being sure that we're keeping things appropriate. And again, they're pushing the boundaries sometimes. So we want to be sure that we're supervising them. And they also need extra time to talk and connect with peers. They need to do this in person, and even more so when they're learning virtually so much. Adults working with juniors should focus on positive feedback. Again, be animated, but not childish. Be patient. Acknowledge the girls' comments. Create the expectations with the girls. What is this workshop, or what is this event, or what is this going to be? How do you think we should behave during it? And create it so that it's with them. And that's very important. And guide girls through decision making rather than always telling them what to do. Then this is building some of the girl leadership. This is an example of what we've used for juniors. And again, it's giving them choice. It's kind of an introductory activity where they choose which job fits them. And depending on, pretty much like what we just did, they can annotate it if they have access to that on their device, or they can put it into chat. So the three Girl Scout, three processes that really build Girl Scout leadership are girl-led, learn by doing, and cooperative learning. And in Girl Scouts, we try to include these processes in all of the programs and events that we offer. So in the resource folder, which you'll have access to through the Astronomy from the Ground Up, the account that you set up, you'll have this sheet, which is a really good progression of different online tips working with girls. So now, are you ready? We're going to break out into your first groups. And again, these are going to be groups that are primarily from the same region. In some areas that wasn't possible. So you may have people from different parts of the state, and that's really cool too. So what we want you to do is introduce yourself with your name, location, the city that you're from or the town that you're from, and the role that you are coming. Are you a astronomer, Girl Scout adult, or a Girl Scout? And then share one age characteristic that you had as an 8-year-old, a brownie age. How would you have identified yourself? What a characteristic would you say? And then what is one strategy or technique would you use at a program with a child like your former self. And just as an example, I was a kind of girl in group settings that I'd like to observe things and observe people and what they were saying. And so I was fairly quiet. And one strategy that I think would have helped me would be if people actually asked me, you know, what I felt or what I thought about something. And that would have, because I had the thoughts in my mind, but I would just sit back and listen to others. So we're going to give you 8 minutes, and Vivian will place you into your breakout groups. We ask that you watch the time, and we'll give you a halfway notice so that you'll be sure that you get through all the people in your group. And then we'll come back and share.
All right. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, I'm ready. So take a note of your room number. You're going to need that later. You'll be assigned back to the same room. And it can take just a minute to open up the room. So do not worry if everything goes dark for a moment. You should end up back there. We have 8 minutes, and I'm going to go ahead and send you to your rooms. A couple of you, I'm going to pull you back out because your partners are missing. So stay tuned.
And we may have some of the facilitators jumping in and out of the rooms, and feel free to welcome us.
All right, here we go.
I can't wait. Yay.
This is the best part. All right, it looks like we're missing a few Girl Scouts from, let's see. Actually, I have a question. There are a few of you who are still on. Unknown host, who are you? And Lorraine, what is your last name? And where are you calling in from? Both of you, go ahead, or I guess one at a time. Lorraine,
Hi,
are
this is
you
Lorraine,
on?
this is Lorraine Libera. I signed in as Madeline Shimizu, my daughter, but she's a high school scout, but she seems to be overwhelming with homework. So
Oh,
I'm the leader
excellent.
at camp, and I'm a leader of the troop, of a multi-level troop, and I am also a camp leader at a Diablo day camp during the summer.
Awesome. Okay, I'm going to partner you with Mark St. John. So, with Dan St. John.
Yeah, sorry I didn't change the name, but
That's okay. It's
fence went
fine.
down in the wind. So I was
That's all right. No hurry. Okay, you should be heading there now.
okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. An unknown host, who are you? Are you able to unmute yourself? I think I've just asked you. It should ask you to unmute.
Okay, you're talking to me then.
Yes.
Okay, I'm Barbara Novak.
Oh, hello, Barbara. I didn't even recognize you. Hi, how are you?
I had a hard time getting in, so that's why I'm
Oh,
late. Okay,
okay. I'm just going to rename you.
right.
Novak, is that right?
Novak, right?
Okay, didn't think there was a C. Okay, I'm
I'm
going to send you into your room. Just a moment. Let's see. You can just say accept or okay, go to the room or something like that. Okay.
Say
Okay.
join.
All right, enjoy.
Okay.
Okay, 7:21. Okay.
Hey, Vivian.
You can't, nobody can hear me. I'm so sorry.
I was like,
Jean, are you ready to go to room 5?
I am.
All right, I'm moving you there. Oops. Yep, hold on just 1 second. I need to send out a message to everybody.
Halfway.
3 minutes left. Sorry, there was some confusion in the beginning. I'll be right back. I'm going to send you, Jean, to room 5. See you soon.
Okay.
And Pamela, would you like to go to room 6?
Sure.
All right. We're just in. There we go. See you soon. Welcome back, everyone. It's going to take just a minute. If you're finishing conversations in your room, sometimes you can take up that full 60 seconds if you need to. No worries. Excellent.
So maybe in chat, we can do this. If you have anything that you want to share that you heard from others that was surprising or you'd want to remember while working with younger girls. And that way we can get lots of opinions in. Out loud is much more fun as a conversation, but in chat, we can get more people sharing. So I'm going to give you 1 minute to share in chat something that you might want to remember when working with younger girls that you heard from others.
Well, I didn't hear too much that was really surprising. I guess Alexis was interesting because she thought that being at 8 years old was a long time ago for her, but not very long from our perspective.
My goodness, 2018 feels like a long time ago at this point.
Well, in some ways that's true, yes.
I'm seeing some great responses in the chat here. Dan says time goes fast, kids are active. Hands-on activities are good. Kathleen says trying to include everyone's important. Ramya says stories and connecting with books. Yes, narrative. Yvette says calling them directly, small groups to draw out kids. Teresa says be encouraging to shy girls. Alexia talks about making visuals, reading, small groups for more conversation. Maisie talks about interactive activities. Annabelle, smaller groups, ask them directly. Julia, keep them engaged, smaller groups. Alexandra says staying structured and listening to students with questions. Sabrina, just sort of a reminder of trying to encourage everyone and the quiet girls and the louder ones, sort of balancing that. It sounds like there's a lot of good thing talking about balancing things. Lorraine says time flies, and Pamela mentions to call on each girl. Iris mentions outgoing girls are easily distracted and might be helped by giving them a task. So give them some help, let them help with the leadership. Wolf, a lot of kids can be shy, so it's important to gently draw them out. And Olivia here says help them when they need help, which is definitely important. What a great selection of responses here. Isabel also mentions that art and dance, remember making friends. As you can already tell, I'm a bit of a whirlwind talker, and that's in part because we have so much to cover. In the first 3 badge activities, there are 5 steps in each of the Brownie and Junior with 3 activity choices each, which makes for 30 badge activities. Add the Daisy badge, which has 3 steps to each, there would be 36 activities to cover. I don't need to cover all of those. You are all very smart people and very dedicated people, and you have hopefully received your badge booklets in the mail. If you have not, you should let us know. We also have extensive resources in the resource folder that is linked from the forum. So we're going to try to cover things that may not be as clear right there. I've broken it down today into sort of 3 subjects: the moon, the solar system, and the stars. It's not that the badges are necessarily broken down into these, but these are some through lines, some themes. In the Daisy badges, both activities in step 2 have to do with observing the moon. In the Brownie badges, step 3 has to do with investigating the moon. And in the Junior badges, even an opportunity to model the Earth and the moon. We love to break things up with a little joke. So you can just think in your head, or you can type in the chat if you're fast. Why did the moon put down its fork? And the answer is 3, 2, 1, because it was full. We do a moon phase sort. It works well for both the Brownie and the Daisy and the Brownie badge. It's about predicting the moon phases and then observing. We can do this in a variety of ways. We could do it with a slide right here on Zoom. You could ask, what moon phase did you see last? You could have the girls annotate the slide by putting a little stamp on whichever moon phase they saw last. I could, as the leader, annotate under that bar, what moon phase did you see last, and start typing in the numbers as they come in. And then what moon phase do you predict comes next? I'm going to go over to this thing called a Jamboard now. Let's see if I can get myself over to it. It is a Google tool that I'm very fond of. And are you seeing a Jamboard? Great, I see a nod. Okay, so this is a Jamboard. You're welcome to use this. Please copy before use. Up at the top here are the boards. So if I had a group of girls, I could put their name. I could make a board for each one of the girls to sort their slides. So I've got my test slide here, and I'm going to use this little arrow to close it. So in this moon phase prediction, I've gone ahead and set them up with all the pictures of the moon phases. The background has little bricks they can slide it into. So I'm going to start with the full moon and put that there. And then I think it gets smaller and then smaller again, but I'm not sure, maybe there. So they can go ahead and drag and drop each one of these. Another feature, so I'm using right now on the left this little arrow for select. Another feature on this is a sticky note. So I could put the time and date of when I saw it. I can change the color if I want. Maybe it's blue for I saw it at night. And when I'm done with the sticky notes, I can cancel. So I could say, even come back to this Jamboard and said, I saw this one at time and date. So this is a nice digital tool for a moon sort. Going back to the physical world here. So that's a digital tool, 2 ways of doing it with Zoom or Jamboards. After you do your prediction, go ahead and ask them, how do you test your prediction? We make observations. So we're going to try to draw in the moon book every week. Now this only works if you're doing a multi-part series. If you're doing a one-day event, you probably want to give them the answer that same day. but encourage them to observe and maybe even figure out if there's an incentive if they share with you afterwards that they've seen at least 3 moons. If they can share the drawings, that you would send them something, whatever it is, even a digital badge. In the resources folder, there are these sheets. They're perforated. You can print them on something called Avery 5371, whatever it is. So they're perforated, so you can print them out on that. So if you're doing a big in-person event, it's really nice. On one side, they have the moon phases. On the other side, they've got a blank circle, so the girls can fill it out with the time of the date. You punch a hole in the corner, you put a little ring through it, and they can sort the cards. They can make their observations. Of course, observing the moon over 5 consecutive nights, absolutely. And maybe you would make your own thing that wasn't these cards, because this wouldn't work as well over 5 nights. You'd see much smaller amounts of change. But you can even make a moon book. I've got one here that we really like to do out of one piece of paper. It's if you look for a 1-page origami book, it's really cool. You can make it out of one piece of paper. And I've got my moon book here that I used with the girls for a different program. So there's a lot of ways of doing this moon book, and whatever works for you, we just wanted to share a couple of options with you here. Of course, after they've made the predictions, it is helpful to see things. This is called a GIF. This will be no surprise to the Girl Scouts, but I was actually realizing that not everyone's familiar with GIFs. It's a moving image. It's like a video, but when you load it into your PowerPoint, it's not like a video file. It doesn't make everyone's machine crash so much. So GIFs are really amazing ways of sharing things about space science through slides, because you can add them in just like photos. And NASA even has a whole set on a website called Giphy. And in this presentation, which you'll have a link to in the forum, there are URLs to get to the Giphy GIFs from NASA, so you can put them in your own presentations afterwards. Maybe you want to do repeat after me, so they get a chance to say some words that aren't familiar. And so you just want to be real clear, channel your inner camp counselor, repeat after me, and then have them even say, repeat after me right back from that. Usually gibbous is maybe a word they haven't heard before. And that way you can have them either on mute, and that's very calm, or you can have the chaos of having them all unmute. And if you've ever tried that, you know, it won't show up all at the same time. It'll be a little chaotic, but it's really fun to get a chance to sort of just repeat after me. And of course you can start with the new moon. I was a little bit of a rebel. I started with the full, because I think a lot of girls often start with the full, even though sort of we think of our phases as starting with the new. You may also want to throw in some fun moon trivia. We always see the same side of the moon. Again, GIFs, really fun. This one's from Space Place. I think it's just adorable. You put googly eyes on anything, it gets cuter. How long does it take for the moon to orbit or go around the Earth? You always want to make sure that if you're adding a new term, that you define it somewhere in there. You'll notice I put a lot of words on the screen, mostly because it's a mix of making sure that people sort of say the thing correctly, sort of just right as they ask the question, but also some girls like to read along as you talk. And that's a good way to learn in 2 different ways. And this is from the European Space Agency. And I love this GIF of the moon takes about 1 month, about 29 days. We all know that's not quite it, but we sometimes simplify things just a little bit to make things clearer for the girls. Astronomicals, switching gears a little bit from moon phases. There are so many moon stories. We talked about art and creativity. You don't need to write them down because all the links will be in the presentation. So the Google Slides deck will have the links underneath of all the places to find them. And then these will be, like these stories are actually in the resources folder that's linked from the forum. We definitely don't want you to have to write it all down. So Astronomical Society of the Pacific made these beautiful moon story cards. I love them. They each have a story. This is about different sets of gods, and one of the gods was angry. There was the god who was the sun, and then the god who was the moon, and the third god was angry and wanted to dim the light, so he threw a rabbit up at the second god and dimmed its light and became the moon. Can you see the rabbit? There's this wonderful worksheet that's already there. I love worksheets, and you can also, I call them printables. You can send them home in an envelope. Flat envelopes don't cost a lot to mail. If you're doing them in person, it's easy to run them off. So this is a create your own moon story. We usually give girls some colorful pens or pencils to draw right on top of the picture of the moon, looking at the light and dark parts. What shapes, objects, or animals can you see with your imagination? And this is actually, yes.
Just sorry to interrupt. I just see a lot of things in the chat about, are these going to be available? And all the slides are going to be available, and they're also going to be resources that you can download. So don't try to write everything down, and you're doing great. So.
Thank you. Yes, no, this is way too much and we want you to be here. So yeah, the resources are in that presentation. And I see Steve mentioned a book, which is fabulous. We should figure out a way for you all to share some resources too, if you have them. We haven't gotten that platform, but once you said it, I'm like, oh, yes. I'm sure you have other thoughts about books and things. So we've got here this activity. I did want to mention it's in the Daisy badge booklet, not as one of the 2 official badge steps, but as something called For More Fun. So you'll see that in the For More Fun section. So it doesn't officially check that box, but it's just ideas for additional activities. Kathleen has a cute song. The International Observe the Moon Night has a great song. It's a little hard to sing. That's To the Ants Go Marching. As the phases. So now let's talk about how the older girls, not older, but the juniors, the 4th and 5th graders, we might start talking about scale models. Whenever we're introducing something, you kind of want to walk them through it. You might have to do something. It helps to start with an opening question. Has anyone heard the term scale model before? A lot of girls will actually start talking about models like fashion models as well. Oh, a model is like a representation of something. So always try to find the yes in something. Can you think of something that is a scale model of a person or a car? So you might want to add a little bit more like leading tips here. And then of course, a little bit of a reveal. This is a dollhouse of Juliette Gordon Lowe, the founder of Girl Scouts. That is a scale model, which means they shrunk her whole house down all the same amount. So it is a scale model of her house, which is also a dollhouse. Let's do an activity. I'm gonna give you 1 minute to go find something that is spherical, a ball-shaped or round object, and bring it back. And if you can't find something, you'll need that paper and pencil to draw a circle. Go for it. See, Vivian's got hers. I'm going to stop sharing for a minute so we can see some of these objects that we've got here. Oh, it's nice to see everyone's face here. Okay, it looks like, let's keep going. It looks like everyone's got theirs. So if we shrunk everything in our solar system down until the Earth was the size of this ball that you're holding in your hand, how big would the moon be? Go ahead and draw your prediction on your piece of paper. So you have to think about, would the moon be the same size as the Earth? Would it be bigger than the Earth? Would it be smaller than the Earth? And you can see this is one of the challenges with virtual backgrounds. When you put things sort of not in front of you, you'll see they disappear. So sometimes it's good not to have a virtual background. Oop, I see some drawings coming up. This is great. Okay, let's do a thumbs poll. Everyone's made their prediction. Whose Earth is the same, whose moon is the same size as Earth? Give me a thumbs up. Whose Earth is bigger than their moon? Give me a thumbs up if your Earth is bigger than your moon. Whose Earth is smaller than their moon? Give me a thumbs up. So a thumbs poll is a great way to do it. You can also have them put their hands on their head or touch their nose, anything you want with the group that you're in. So, and then you of course want to give them the answer, which is the Earth's diameter is 4 times the diameter of the moon. So you should be able to fit 4 moons side by side across your Earth. And you could go ahead and have them revise their drawing if they wanted, you know, draw a new circle. That's the nice thing about drawing a circle. The original has you find 2 objects, but in a rush, when you're kind of grabbing it, getting one ball-shaped object, a round object, and then drawing your second prediction gives you a lot more flexibility. Okay, now we've got a poll, which is another great feature of Zoom, is you can do polls, which if you're doing Zoom, it's fun to do. And it's sort of a easy, anonymous, low risk way for girls to participate. They just have to click a button. So Vivian, if you would launch this poll, how many Earths could we fit between the Earth and the moon? So we're gonna go ahead and have you fill this out, and I can see the answers coming in. This is great.
Got about a quarter of you have voted already. You should see the link for voting right in front of your screen. Getting closer.
That's a great thing that Vivian's doing is you're kind of giving feedback, saying, we're seeing you come in. I'm seeing about, oh, we've got 75% of you have voted now. Letting everybody know where you're at is definitely important.
Oh,
So I have this little globe here, and it's about the size of the ping pong ball is about the size of the moon. And this,
Nice, Ray. Okay, I'm gonna close the poll in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then I can share the results with you. Can you see those?
So it looks like the majority of people, 13 of you said you can fit 30 Earths between the moon and Earth. It's kind of split between smaller. We've got 16 people total who have smaller distances than 30, and then about 11 people who think there's a larger distance, either 130 or 300. And then I'm going to stop the share results here, and we could fit about 30 Earths between the Earth and Moon. This is a favorite model of mine. This is ASP's yardstick eclipse. So we've got here a 1-inch Earth ball. You can see I have to slow down to make sure I get the words right. That's clipped to the 3-inch mark, and a 1/4-inch moon bead that's clipped to the 33-inch mark. And this, of course, is something that you can use when showing things about the eclipse. You can make a little eclipse on the Earth with this using the sun outside. We like to throw in women in space science. There's a bunch of bios in the resource folder that are from the Girl Scout Volunteer Toolkit, which is a set of resources that are available to Girl Scout leaders as well as you. We've downloaded all of them from the Volunteer Toolkit and put them in the Dropbox so you can all get to them. But in this case, you might want to, I wish I could remember who. Somebody mentioned books. Books are amazing. Steve mentioned books with someone else earlier as well. So this is a book, Counting on Catherine, that's really fabulous. So bringing in books and stories, if you've got the time, is a wonderful way of incorporating. And of course, the Astronomical Society of the Pacific has done that a lot with their story time. The next thing we are going to talk about is the solar system. So planets and how they move around. Our neighbors. So Brownies, it's called Meet the Neighbors. All 3 activities are about the planets. The juniors have a step in Model the Solar System. Name sort of tells it. Circle the Sun, of course, about orbiting and using tools to explore. So all of these steps include things about the solar system. So we're not going to do this in chat, but this would be a way that I might introduce sort of a topic with girls. And it might be something we do even before we start the meeting, so they can chat in the type chat. They could chat with their families if they're there participating as a family. Talk amongst yourselves. What have you heard about planets? Give them a chance to share. Now, as you're doing this, there's some things to remember. You kind of want to start with an open-ended question, not a fact, like a test question where you'd answer and the answer would be right or wrong. You want to acknowledge those responses by calling the girls by name and then maybe even repeating what they said. You saw me doing that a little bit earlier with some of those chat responses. It's good to avoid saying that's wrong, even if it's something you're worried about. Oh no, they're going to believe this, because you're going to summarize at the end. These are all things people have heard about this. Let them know that they're going to learn more information later. And then you can also address the misconceptions sort of at a later time, not directly addressing misconceptions in the moment, but later you can share the information to make sure you feel like they've left with sort of the information they need to continue on their science journey. So if you want, you can stand up. You can probably do this in your chair too. I think I'm going to do this in my chair, but it's a pantomime. So you're going to need your hands free. So oftentimes I'll say, if you're able to, you want to make sure you realize not everybody can always do everything physically. So if you're able to, go ahead and stand up. Thank you, Vivian. I see you standing up. Mercury has only one sunrise every 180 Earth days. Act like you are amazed to see the sunrise. I'm going to put you on for a minute. Thank you. I see that you're all sharing. This is great. So I'm just going to share a few others that we do. The whole set is in there. Volcano has an active surface. Venus has an active surface, including volcanoes. Act like you are a volcano. I got to turn it to gallery view so I can see so much of this wonderfulness. And then Earth is the only planet in our solar system that we know of that supports life. So take a breath of our amazing Earth air. So that might be a great way to kind of mix things up, get things moving, get those wiggles out. So that would be a good planet pantomime. Maybe you want to turn each one into a dance move. Maybe you want to turn each one into whatever, but get creative. It's not a badge step, but it's a way to learn about the planets that kind of sets you up for this, which is a planet mnemonic. So it's described very well in the badge booklet. So all the instructions are there, but here's a slide you can use. If you were doing this with a group, this is a way to help you remember the order of the planets starting at the sun. So if we started at the sun and then go out from there, the first planet out from the sun is Mercury, and it starts with the letter M. So we're going to come up with a word that starts with the letter M. Now to make things faster, I've added some words already. So we've got M is for Mercury. We said it's many. V is for Venus. We said very. E is for Earth is excellent. But then we got to come up with something for M. So either you can have the girls annotate or you can annotate there. So I'm just going to open this up and say moms, mothers. I'm seeing things coming in. What other words start with M? Masters, mouse, models, macaroni. I like that. Moss. I like them all, but I like the ones that are super silly and fun. Munchkins, mentors, maps, mustaches, myths, music, math. Woo! Okay, we got a good set here. So those are some things that start with the letter M. There we go, there's math. And then moose, we're gonna get one more in there. Last one for the M. And then things that start with the letter N. I'm gonna start it here. Noodles. Nice. Nap times. Noses. News. Names, nickels. And then you might find that you're not able to see your chat window because you moved it. Night. Need, nachos, note, noggins. Okay, I've felt nerds. I've run out of space for the moment here. This would be a moment then when we could have the girls use the annotate tool. If you're comfortable doing it, I know a few of you aren't able to because of the platforms you're on, the Chromebooks or iPads, but if you get into annotate, you can go ahead and stamp the one that you like the most with a star or a heart. So go ahead and get in there if you like. And I'm gonna give you 1 minute to make your selection. Vote just once, please. You'll want to say that because the girls will vote a lot if you don't mention it.
Also, just so you know, you can set it up with or without names next to it. I think it's set up with names right now, but you can also do it anonymously.
You can use either for different reasons. Okay, it looks like we've got a good number of votes and it is appearing like, ooh, mustaches and munchkins are tied. Ooh, we got some additions. Meatball, mustache, noodles. Let's see, where are we at? It looks like noodles. So we're gonna go with munchkins and noodles then. So then once you've got all of those set up, oops, I just clicked a star by accident. I'm gonna remember to save as a PNG. Oops, except for I need to somehow save. Good, because you'll want to save this for later. That's it. And then I'll go to the next slide. And then after you've got the annotation, you notice it stays to the next slide, so you have to clear it. This was an old one, so we would do it repeat after me style. This one happened to be monkeys, but ours is many very excellent munchkins. So imagine in your mind, a lot of excellent munchkins. Whatever munchkin is, I know them as maybe donut holes or characters from a movie. Just shared unusual noodles. So you have to imagine them running around sharing unusual noodles. And if you can keep this in your mind, it'll help you remember the solar system saying, and it's probably going to be pretty vivid. It's one that they made themselves. So it can be a good goofy thing. So you would sort of exit out of your slideshow maybe and add these words in yourself. And just for the sake of time, I'm not doing it here. Okay, this is another one where I'm going to turn it into gallery view so I can see all of you. If I shrunk our solar system down, if I shrunk our solar system down until everything the same amount, until the sun was the size of an 8-inch ball, I happen to have a bowl, or you can hold up a soccer ball, anything about 8 inches. Go ahead and show me with your hands how big you think Mercury would be. Is it be about the same, a little smaller? So go ahead and show me with your hands. This is a good quick one. So every planet, I'm going to say the planet's name. You're going to show me with your hands about how big you think it would be. So Mercury. For those of you who have little tiny, it would be the size of a pinpoint, like the end of my tiny little pencil here. What about Venus? Go ahead and show me with your hands. Make your guess.
Pretty small.
Venus. It's about the size of a peppercorn here. I've got my peppercorn shaker, about 0.08 inches. Earth, another peppercorn. Okay, what about Mars? How big would Mars be? Go ahead and show me with your hands. Mars would again be a pinhead, like the end of this mechanical pencil. Tiny, tiny, tiny. Jupiter. How big would Jupiter be? With your hands? In 3, 2, 1. It would be a little less than an inch, about the size of a large marble. And you can pull whatever you can from home. I measured my measuring spoons and this was about the right size. So whatever you've got to hold up. What about Saturn? Show me with your hands. Looking around, guesses for Saturn size. Got a variety here. Okay, Saturn is about the size of a marble, 0.7 inches, so less than an inch. And then Uranus or Uranus, depending on how you pronounce it. Any guesses? Looking for hands. Okay, it would be about the size of one of these beads, 0.3 inches, about 1/3 of an inch. And then Neptune, once again, about the size of a bead. So that is our scale model. Most of you know this if you've done outreach activities as a solar system walk or Earth as a peppercorn. This is a very quick way of doing it virtually with a group where you have everyone sort of sharing with their hands their guesses sort of rapidly. You could also have them guess how many giant steps, have them stand up and take one giant step and have them guess how many giant steps it would be to each planet as well. So they're guessing with the size and giant steps. Because while these are the scale sizes of the planets, it is not the scale distance. And here's another GIF that I love, and it's from JPL. And it goes from showing the scale size of the planets, and the URL for the GIF is in the PowerPoint presentation and the speaker notes, sorry, the Google Slides speaker notes, to the scale distance, which when you're doing this as a walk, you end up realizing that's a long walk when you're walking from an 8-inch sunball all the way out to those outer planets. So this is a way to transform something that's meant to be an in-person experience to a virtual experience. You can also do coloring sheets. Everybody loves coloring. This is called the solar system packet. It's for the picture the planet step for the brownies. And it's got the circles already drawn to scale so they can go ahead, head over to NASA's Space Place. You can use the Girl Scout resource for each planet. So you can just print those out and have them draw based on those pictures, or they can look them up, or they can go onto the NASA websites and look at the posters of the planets to draw their planets to scale. This is one other that I wanted to share here, which is imagine your Earth's year. And this is one that we do usually in a room where we paste the months around the room, all 12 months going counterclockwise the way the Earth would move around the sun. And then you put a sun ball or a light bulb in the middle of the room. And you have everybody do a dance move or an action at each one of the places. So think about maybe sports you would play. Yeah. And then you would think about that. What kind of action would you do? So we can do it in chat. You can type it in chat if you're being shy, or you can just show me an action of something active that you might do in winter. Go ahead and do it on the screen. I see some basketball. Yep, and some throwing. Looks like some baseball maybe. Some cross-country skiing.
I know what I would do.
Ooh, ice skating, running. Julia says snowboarding.
Isabella, what did you want to do?
No,
Ooh, Joel says shiver. That's definitely an activity to do in the winter. Isabella says snowball fight. That's great. So using these pictures, you could walk the girls through and maybe they want to do a dance move for each one or an action. You can make it a get the wiggles out kind of thing. This is for juniors, so they might be a little cool for it, but a lot of them are watching TikTok videos and so they're all about dance moves. So don't worry, if you can get one or two of them going, you can usually get it going. Oh, hot tub, that's a good outdoor activity too. So there's one of these slides for each one of the months, and then you go along to spring. So you've got these 4 different slides. You can take them through the year. Have them think about what they do. And all the while they're looking at this picture where the Earth is moving around the sun and it's got these little pictures. This is a European Space Agency gift that I paused at different spots to pull these pictures. And then at the end of it, one of my favorite activities actually came from our community partners programs, which work with girls in low-income schools. And they said, well, you have all these things, but we're talking about years and let's think about what we're doing in the future. So right now in chat, imagine what will you be doing in 5 orbits? If 1 orbit is a year, what will you be doing in 5 orbits? Dinner parties, going back to dinner parties, trip to Africa, finishing high school. Yeah, so the girls will be thinking about what year they're going to be in school. Maisie says college. Jean says traveling. Swami says vacationing. I think right now a lot of us are thinking about what we might do in the future since things have been a little different this year. Isabella's thinking China maybe. Sabrina's going to be graduating college in 5 orbits. Pamela's going to be finishing another NASA grant. This is great. So getting the girls to think about what they'll be doing in the future is a really fun activity that has both to do with space science and just sort of their personal interests. And Wolf is going to retire from his day job and spend more time teaching. Alexia is hoping to not be in lockdown and Ramya is going back to work. So this is a great opportunity to sort of bring in that personal. It's that, Isabella's thinking about being an artist. So we've done the moon, we've done the planets. Let me go ahead and make this so I can see it again. These are giant balls of gas, many light years away. Most are only seen at night, although one is seen in the day. Go ahead and think of your answer. I'm going to reveal it in 3, 2, 1. We have got the stars. And the one seen in the day, our sun. So you can have the girls share and chat or just think to themselves, the stars appear. And of course, all the badges, this is reach for the stars. So in the daisies, they meet the stars. In the brownies, they see more than before. And our stargazers and juniors, they discover the stars, use tools. And we're going to talk a lot more about all of the stars and the space science, not the space science, the night sky and observing steps in session 3 with Vivian and Teresa from the Astronomical Society of the Pacific. We've broken out a lot of that stargazing, star party stuff just to focus on some of the hands-on badge activities, just to fit it all in today. So realize we're not talking about all the star things. Again, find a nice, simple way to introduce it. Have you ever looked up and noticed how the stars in the sky can look like shapes? Go ahead and put your hands on your head if you've ever seen a star, a group of stars that look like a shape. Okay. And you know how the names of any constellations? Go ahead and hold up some fingers, as many constellations as you know. Oh, I'm seeing a variety of numbers of fingers. There we go. So go ahead and you can make quick reaction things. Constellations are patterns of stars in the sky, kind of like connect the dots. And astronomers agree to use the same 88 constellations to map the sky for science. If you have extra time, maybe you'll want to ask the girls, why would they need to map the sky for science? So ask those open-ended questions if you have time. I love this website. It's called Figures in the Stars, and it's got a whole lot of different constellations that we're familiar with, and you roll around them and find out what people from cultures around the world from different times, what kind of stories they had about these same stars. Because while the astronomers agreed on these 88 constellations to map the sky, people throughout time have had ideas of what they saw in the stars. So let's see, we're looking here and I'm looking around, and the Japanese moon stations, it says looks like the Investigator. And the Ojibwe people, Native American from the Midwest, are saying this is a winter maker. So you can go to that website, have the girls tell you where to go, and look at all the different stars. We're gonna do a little connect the dots. This is hard for amateur astronomers and for anyone who looks at the sky a lot. Scrub your minds of what you already know it is. If it wasn't the constellation that you know, what do you see when you connect these dots? Go ahead and put it in chat. Fishhook from Mike. So not an existing constellation, but what you see when you connect the dots in the way that makes a shape that would be all your own. Ooh, Frank's got an elephant trunk. And Pamela's got a high heel shoe. Joel's got a snake, and Rami's got a spoon. Angelina's thinking high heel. Teresa's got two snakes fighting. Wolf likes the shoe. Disco dancer from Iris. Julia's got a high heel. Isabella's seeing a shoe. Once somebody says it, then you're like, oh yeah, I see a shoe. Does anyone see a sitting cat? I once heard a sitting cat. Ooh, Rami's got a curly haired girl. Alexi is a base of a tree. High heel from Kathleen and Ray. So go ahead, you can do this DIY constellation. You could have them even annotate afterwards using that tool where they draw, showing them. Julia's got the howling wolf. Then you can go ahead and share. This is known as Scorpio, or the scorpion up in the sky. And I saw a few people said that. Definitely what the constellation that it's officially known as, but you can connect the dots in any way you like. There are two resources in the toolkit. One is a constellation worksheet from Girl Scouts that's in the volunteer toolkit. One side's got the constellations sort of as they're known with just the stars on the other side. ASB has these legends of the stars with create your own constellations that are nice big full sheets. And those are really accurate in terms of where the stars are at. And for your own connect the dots as a worksheet, you might want to do either on the screen with annotation, printed out in person, or sent in advance or have them printed home. We love star stories. Anyone who knows star stories knows they need to be previewed before you share them with girls because some of them are more adult in theme. We really like Zoo in the Sky for those stories. It's a good go-to. They're nice and short. And if you want to talk a little bit about wayfinding in history, Follow the Drinking Gourd's an amazing story. It's got sort of one page that really summarizes it if you only have time for one page, but it's about the Underground Railroad and a song called Follow the Drinking Gourd, and how it helped slaves escape to the north by following the drinking gourd, which is the asterism called the Big Dipper inside Ursa Major. I'm thinking it is. It's also, of course, the North Star is in Ursa Minor, which is, sorry, which is the Little Dipper, is the last star on that. So one of the steps is to tell your own star story. So after the girls connect the dots, they can go ahead and share a star story based on their connect the dots, or you might want to encourage them to go outside, bundle up, lay out flat, and then share with their family what they see in the stars, the same way we might do with cloud watching when we're younger. I did want to share constellation viewers here. These are one of the best in-person activities. They're not going to be great virtually unless you're sending materials in advance. You're going to need an 8-ounce, you're going to need your printed out constellation circle template, which is in the resources folder, and a pair of scissors. If you're doing this for hundreds of girls and you want to make it faster, you might want to buy one of these Fiskars extra large punches. It's just the right size for punching out a whole bunch of these in advance if you want to make it faster. Have them girls write their name, because all of them will look the same, on an 8-ounce cup. Some of the 8-ounce cups are a little smaller on top. This one was. You glue your circle to the top, so I had to cut my circle a little smaller. And then using a push pin, and we love the giant push pins. They're easier to hold and a little less dangerous in terms of the size of them. Poke holes every place that there is a star. And then using a single light bulb, because physics and pinholes, you need just a single light source. So it might be a keychain flashlight like this, or the light on your cell phone, your mobile phone. You're going to shine the light through the cup in a dark space, or else you can even look at through the cup into the light and look at it. Now you'll need to think about positives and negatives. You might want to print out these constellations backwards, so when they shine the light through the cup, it appears forwards. This is the constellation viewers in action at the National Girl Scout Convention. On the left here, we have Teresa Summer representing the Girl Scout Stars team, showing the girls about constellations. They're all making theirs. On the right, we've got Elspeth Kirsch, who's helping a girl assemble her constellation viewer. And you'll notice there's a cardboard box, because if you're doing this in a space that has a lot of light, you're going to need a dark space to project your constellation viewer. Now, the badge booklets have a great version of this, which uses a potato chip can, which I'll tell you, you might know it was a Pringles can, where you can replace all the little discs in the back of it. So you can have all your constellation viewers like that. But if you're doing an event with 30 girls, it might be hard to get 30 potato chip cans. So it's really nice to have the cups, because you can buy them in bulk rather than have to eat a lot of potato chips. Okay, time for a joke. How do you throw a party in space? You plan it. You can tell I love these. So the space party is the last step. You want to do the first 4 steps in any order you want, but the last step, which includes sharing or stargazing, you want to do last, because it's really sort of a culminating thing. And to award the badges, let's go ahead and do this. It's time. I've been talking for a while. Go ahead and unmute yourself. And we're going to do this repeat after me style. So when the girls have earned their badge virtually, this is something we did for our most recent virtual program. So I'm seeing folks unmuting themselves. This is good. Go ahead and unmute yourselves. Okay, great. So repeat after me.
Repeat after me.
For me.
After me. I know how to investigate.
I know how to investigate.
The sun, moon, planets, and stars.
Sun, moon, planets, and stars.
Sun, moon, planets, and stars.
Yeah. Okay, you can put yourself back on mute. I wanted you to hear what it sounded like when everybody's unmuted. Does it repeat after me? It's a little bit all over the place. You might get some feedback. That's just fine. It's a great way to kind of finish it off, let them know they've earned their Girl Scout Space Science badge. In this case, the Brownie Space Science Adventurer badge.
Of course, really, we're all still learning about how to investigate.
We really are. We are. They've just started. It's true. So the activity formats that we've gone over today, we've talked about open-ended questions like what have you heard? We've done some guessing games and made some predictions, talked about some of those kinds of activities. Made some models, sort of. I mean, I know it seems silly, but it actually is some model making. When you did that Earth and Moon, you made a model, an Earth and Moon model very quickly. Did a little bit of movement and kinesthetic learning, like the planet pantomime, and even the solar system walk is sort of some kinesthetic learning. Talked a little bit about art, stories, and creating that DIY constellation. I love getting those answers. That was really fun. And then did a few fun transitions and breaks, remembering that it's important to sort of punctuate things. It's a fast-paced kind of thing when you're online with kids, and their attention spans are shorter, and it's good to bring in icebreakers, jokes, and riddles. The most important thing, one of them that I completely didn't follow today, but hopefully you felt a little bit, was to encourage frequent participation. You want to make it easy with thumbs up, polls, multiple choice, chat. Ask for opinions about prior knowledge, ask for predictions, and acknowledge the comments as they come in, and then keep it playful and fun. At the end of sessions, we really try to include an opportunity for reflection whenever possible. So sort of an easy way to do it, some people do rose, bud, and thorn. Rose is something beautiful. Bud is something, they're sort of excited about that may grow, and a thorn is something that was challenging or difficult or not fun. But I like one thing I've learned, or one thing I want to learn more about can be fun after a session, if you're doing multiple sessions, or getting them to think about things afterwards. And that way, if they're with their families too, maybe they'll go explore together and their families will hear what the girls were interested in learning more about. Again, we mentioned the 3 processes. We want to keep it girl-led. giving them options along the way, letting them make choices when we can. With events, it's harder because you don't get to plan one time, then do it the next. With events, if you're doing it all at once, it might just mean giving choices in the moment. Learning by doing. So this is a different kind of doing in virtual sometimes. In person, hopefully there's a lot of hands-on activities in those badge booklets. This is sort of hands-on, minds-on, keyboard on activities, and then cooperative learning. We're all learning together in a group. The goals of it are the Girl Scout STEM outcomes, building interest in STEM. So they leave wanting to know more. That would be sort of the top level goal. I left your program and I want to know more about space science. Next one would be STEM confidence. I left your program and I feel like I can learn about space science. STEM competence, it's about thinking scientifically. It's not about memorizing facts. At this point, you can look a lot of stuff up online, but I know how to think scientifically, how to make predictions and observe. And of course, anytime you can mention the value of STEM to people in society, why are these things important? So these are the outcomes that are the National Girl Scout STEM outcomes that I think are also great to keep in mind. None of them have to do with memorizing facts. They don't remember the order of the planets. That's okay. You gave them a tool and hopefully that's sort of a practice run and next time it'll be easier. It's time for our next breakout discussion because we just have 15 minutes left. I've been talking for a long time. So this is about questions. We're gonna have somebody put the Jamboard link into the chat. And we're gonna use a Jamboard to answer what engaging and open-ended questions would you ask girls while doing an activity? For example, what would you ask maybe before starting or during the activity or after the activity as a reflection? So I'm gonna go to this page and just walk you through it one more time, what we're gonna do. You're gonna go to your breakout group and these are numbers. So you can see up here on the left, group 1. So if your breakout group is group 1, when you launched and it says you're in group 1, this will be the page you're in. If you're not in group 1, you're gonna need to expand the bar and go to the page number. So maybe you're in group 4, then close it here. So you're in group 4. So the activity, we've copied a few from the badge booklets, will be here on the left. Then you'll want to add in Post-it notes here and click, you can change the color, you click save. And when you're done, you can click cancel from your sticky notes. You can drag them around, you can organize them. And of course, in this little corner dots, you can delete it if you're done. And you could also just add text if you want. So you can use the sticky notes or the text to go ahead as in a group, in your breakout group, come up with some questions you would ask girls while doing your assigned activity. And it's great, I'm seeing a lot of you log in here. So I'm gonna stop the share and let's see, Vivian, since you've got the breakout group controls, how's it looking?
Yep, so I think we're ready to go. You all know how this goes now. Are there any questions before we go?
I just want to reiterate that the task is to think about what questions you would ask the girls while you were running this activity. What would be open-ended? We talked about gentle, encouraging, and a lot. So what would you ask to open up this activity?
Good call, thanks. All right, are you ready? We're gonna go time traveling again. Here we go. Again, we've got 8 minutes. Go ahead and talk amongst yourselves and we're gonna be in the same groups you were in before. See you in 8. And it's 8:17. Too many notes. All right. And Mike, are you having trouble getting in? Oh, I think you're frozen. Cynthia, how about you? Are you in? Let me see. Cynthia, you're in group 4. Okay. 8, 17.
Mhm.
Team 21, 25. Okay, so what we are going for to 825. 8. Hi, Jessica. Do you want me to assign you to a different? Oh, you're muted. Hold on. Do you want me to assign you to a different room?
Yes, please. That
And-
team was good. So I want to make sure everyone's going.
Yep. I just want to. I'm just sending that message right now. Okay.
Thank you.
And you were just in. Remind me. I think you're
9. I was in 9.
9. Okay. I'm gonna take you into room 2.
Okay, thanks.
Who shakes? Maybe. Sorry.
No, you're-
That was not
I'm
working.
so glad you're hosting. Thank you.
Oh my gosh, I'm having so much fun, but let me just see something happen there. There we go. It wants me to join. I don't want to join. Oh, I have to switch you. I'm so sorry. 1 second. Move to. There we go. See you in a minute. Okay, there we go. Hi, Pamela. Would you like to move or are you ready to sit out for a minute? I can't hear you though. Sorry. Tell me one more time.
Yep, send me to another group. I'm happy to help.
All right. We've only got actually, yeah, we got about a minute left. Here we go.
I'll just go be encouraging.
Which room are you in? Sorry.
I was in 1.
Great. That's why. There we go. And I'm sending you to room 3. Have fun.
Okay.
Welcome back, everyone. These are awesome. I'm just getting to look through the jam boards now. Oh, yeah.
Well, was that 8 minutes? That was fast.
I know it never feels like 8 minutes. I think I messed up and they were both 9, in fact. Oh, these are great.
It must be good subject matter if it goes that fast.
Yeah, and sometimes learning a new tool, you know, getting acquainted with how to use it is also useful. If you have a Google account, Jamboard is free, which is nice.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's great.
Yeah, it's really easy to use. And anybody can hop on. You don't have to have a Google account to participate.
So we had hoped to have time to share out, but I want to make sure that we end on time and answer any questions that might have come up about the forum. Well, the forum, if it's a technical question, definitely emailing is the best way to do it. But the action item for the week is to go through the badge booklets. It sounds like since some of you may not have gotten your badge booklets yet, I'm going to go ahead and put some PDFs of the badge booklets in the Younger Girl activity resource folders so that we make sure that you have those. Because you're going to select one activity that interests you, maybe one that you're not as familiar with. And there are some specific directions in the forum, but how would you make this a great experience? So you kind of already practiced a little bit thinking about questions, but what else might you do to, if it was in person for 100 people, or if it was virtual for 20, or what, sort of make some decisions, just sort of throw a dart and decide how would you like to shape it and share your ideas in the forum. Again, we're looking for you to spend 20 to 45 minutes in there just typing out some ideas. It doesn't need to be a huge production, but we do want you to spend a moment sort of reading and thinking about it. Just one activity and how you might make it great, a great experience.
And I think too, if you think that, go back to that question about as an 8-year-old, how would you have, what would have been interesting to you as an 8-year-old, or whatever badge it is that you choose, Lib, but what would it be? What would you have enjoyed about doing?
And also,
That's a great point,
kids
Jean.
might know, you know, if you might know kids that are that age.
I'm still that age.
That's true. Kids you already know, to Teresa's point, kids you know that age, to Jean's point, remembering yourself, sort of, I think a lot of you work with kids, kindergarten through 5th graders at some point, or have one in your life. So thinking about it. So just like the other forum sort of action items, you'll get an email that then sends you a link right back to the forum to log in, or you can, I believe, even reply to the email with your answer, which is kind of a great feature. So thank you, everyone. We'll stay on for any questions, but this has been a summary. Actually, it's a 3-question survey. And we want to just sort of get the temperature of what you all thought here of today's session, our K-5 session, so we can really shape our grades 6 through 12 older girl session for next week. So look in the chat for that 3-question survey. If you could fill it out right now, it's really just 3 very quick short answer questions. That would be great. We'll get your feedback, optional to leave your name or not. And thank you all for joining us for the symposium session 1.